It's crazy, but when you start selling on Amazon, not only does it teach about selling on the platform, like how to flip stuff, read keyword charts, IP alert, all that stuff, right? You actually learn so much about entrepreneurship just from doing Amazon FBA alone. And so in this video, I'm going to go over some top takeaways that I've learned just over the past few years that I believe is extremely important for anybody who is wanting to get into Amazon, but specifically into entrepreneurship, because I do believe a lot of these tips can go into any aspect of business, okay? So if you want to quit the 9-to-5 life, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be your own boss and whatnot, watch this video, learn a few things to expect, and yeah, because some of you may want to consider that before doing it. So, but without further ado, guys, let's get straight into it. Make sure you like the video, drop a comment down below, let me know what you guys think. And as always, guys, make sure you hit subscribe in case you don't want to miss out on more videos just like this. So we'll go through these tips one by one and just get started. So number one, if there's anything that Amazon FBA is telling me about entrepreneurship, is that patience is extremely important. And this goes for any business model out there, not just Amazon FBA. But here's the honest truth, guys. If you want a true successful business model out there and you actually want it to grow at a decent pace and you want to be profitable, you have to be very patient, okay? See, the problem with entrepreneurship and how it's being glamorized out here, in social media and whatnot, is that you can start a business and be successful within a month by being a millionaire. Which, dude, that's just freaking unrealistic as well, right? Like, the only way you're going to be a millionaire that fast is if you take on huge amounts of debt, credit card stuff, and just really, go like that. Which 90+% of people aren't going to be able to do or shouldn't be able to do, especially with Amazon FBA. Like, you want to be as patient as possible with this business model. Take your time, learn the ins and outs of the business, and really grow at your own pace, okay? Patience is so important also because, it teaches you the fundamentals of setting your business up properly. You learn all the mistakes. You take so many L's throughout your journey that you need to make. And so you really don't want to speed up that process, by trying to spend so much money throughout this business and really just go too hard heavy, right? Because then you kind of end up screwing yourself over. And yeah, it's just not fun for anybody. But patience is important, and if you're looking to get into entrepreneurship, then you must have patience, okay? You must be willing to accept the fact that if you put in the work today, you probably won't reap those rewards until a few months, maybe even a year or two later, and you have to be okay with that. Because if you're expecting for something to just, hit right away, then you're going to be very disappointed when it doesn't. And that's what causes people to quit entrepreneurship in general, not just Amazon FBA, okay? So patience is important. And the faster you understand that, the faster you will actually be able to grow within your business, because you'll realize that you need to take the proper, time to learn a business. So yes, please, patience is important. I'm glad I put this at number one. So let's get straight into the number two. Now on number two, and this is something that's extremely important, guys, is that every day is completely different, okay? You see, the difference between entrepreneurship and a 9-to-5 is that when you're working at a job, more or less you're doing the same thing. You have the same schedule. You're kind of planned out kind of the same way almost every single day. From the time you're going to eat to the work you're going to know is going to get done to, the time you wake up. So much is pretty systemized, right? As you could say. When you're at a 9-to-5, every day is going to be different, okay? One day everything will be going good, will be going great. You'll be feeling like you're going to the moon with the business. Then pow, the next day something happens. You get hit with an IP complaint. One of your best listings gets taken down, so you have to, liquidate some product, or just anything can happen. One of your best products just tanked. Like, it just, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster, basically. You'll be good one day, then you'll be down the next day, good the next day. Like, it's just completely crazy. And so for those of you who are looking to get into entrepreneurship, just understand that you will not have one single day that looks the same from the last. Like, you have to accept the fact that every day is going to be different. There will never be such a thing as a good time or a bad time, all right? It's just, it is what it is, whatever happens, happens. And some people don't like that, some people don't like that, mixed type of like days type of stuff, right? Like, they need a certain set day. They need to know what they're going to do. They need to basically do the same thing. So if that's you, then maybe entrepreneurship isn't for you, which is perfectly okay. But just be aware that this is what entrepreneurship is, okay? Every day is different. The struggle is different. If something personal comes into your life, then that affects that day too. So, it's just a lot of stuff that happens with it, on a day-to-day basis. When you really think about it though, entrepreneurship is really taking that one day at a time, every single day. So, as long as you handle each day, as best you can, that's all that matters. So, yeah, be ready. Number 3 on this list, and this one's going to be very important, and this is something that you guys need to understand, is that nothing is guaranteed when doing entrepreneurship. Like, this is the part that I believe makes a lot of people quit entrepreneurship in general. It's because they put in this amount of work, hours, even money, and they expect for that work, hours, and money to actually, pay them in some form of way. And if there's one thing about entrepreneurship that I learned in my past 5 years of, doing Amazon FBA, guys, is that nothing is guaranteed. Like, that's just the risk that you take when trying to take the entrepreneurship route. Like, you literally put effort into something without knowing if you're going to get paid for that effort down the road. Like, you're taking a huge risk. You're literally putting it on the line and just telling yourself, okay, if I put this, X amount of effort, time, and whatnot, then I'll get X rewarded. And the truth is that nothing is guaranteed, especially with Amazon. You could buy a product that looked good one day and it ended up just, flopping or something. Like, nothing is guaranteed in business. So, yeah, I mean, you have to be ready for those type of moments, and there will be a lot of those moments. In fact, 90% of entrepreneurship is probably those moments, all right? Now, one of the tips on here is going to go over, how to manage this and whatnot. But yeah, that's just how it is, man. Like, nothing is guaranteed with entrepreneurship. You're either going to do it and handle what you can, or you're not going to do it because you can't handle what you can't, right? So, yeah, extremely important. Think twice about it, but that's just something that happens with entrepreneurship, and that's almost every single day. Like, every choice decision you make in your business isn't guaranteed to succeed in your business. So just something to think about. I'm not trying to sound negative, but that's just the reality of entrepreneurship. Now, number 4 on this list, and this one is extremely important for a lot of you watching this. And here's the thing why 9 to 5 sounds good for some people, but with entrepreneurship, you don't get paid for the work that you don't put in. At least not up front, okay? A lot of people want to start a business, get into entrepreneurship, especially with Amazon FBA. They think, okay, if I put 1 month's worth of, focus, energy into this thing, I'll get paid for the rest of my life. And you may get paid for a few weeks or so, but it's definitely not going to take care of you for the rest of your life. Like, with Amazon FBA specifically, like, if you don't put in some work, you're not going to get rewarded eventually, at some point in your business. And I've had, past occasions with this happening with us where, we've taken maybe a month or 2 months off where we just had personal stuff going on. And yeah, by that second month or so, you're really feeling the pain from not putting in that type of work to basically, mitigate those few months that you take off. So yeah, this is a business that you have to put in some work, because if you don't put in some work, then yeah, it's just not going to reward you. And that's just the honest fact, all right? So at least until you have your business systemized to the point where, you have a VA or so ordering products for you, sending to a prep center maybe, or your own warehouse if you have one, and then letting them manage the business out for you. But 9 out of 10 times, guys, yeah, it's just going to be really you managing maybe one employee or two. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you don't put in some form of work into the business, it is not going to pay you. And so, that's important with entrepreneurship, because with the 9 to 5, yeah, you don't have to put so much work because they'll still pay you regardless. But with like a business like Amazon FBA, if you don't put in the work, you want to take a few hours, days off, that's fine. But you're not going to get rewarded for that time off. So just something to be aware. So yeah, extremely important, especially if you think you're about to go into a business and just do absolutely nothing. Like, that's not going to happen. Number 5 on this list, and this one is some really serious things that you guys really need to consider. But there will be way more downsides than upsides when it comes to doing entrepreneurship. Now listen, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, the freedom that you get of not having someone to tell you what to do, when to eat, when to wake up, it beats any negative thing that can happen in the business, all right? Don't get me wrong. Like, straight up, I will take this much more than anything else. But I'm not going to lie and sit here and tell you guys that every day in the business is a good, positive day, okay? There will be a lot of more bad times than good times, to be honest. But it's just those few good times that happen that make up for all the bad things that happen in your business, right? And again, going back to products tanking, listings getting taken down, IP complaints, or suspension, like, all that stuff can happen in your business, which will happen, from either day to day, week to week, month to month, doesn't matter. Stuff is going to happen, and you need to be ready. And so, I just want you guys to understand the fact that that's just how entrepreneurship is. You're going to have a lot of bad days, okay? And if you're not ready for those type of bad days, then entrepreneurship might not be for you. But it's just the honest facts, man. Like, straight up. And this leads me to my next tip, which is number 6. But basically, at the end of the day, going, talking about all these negative things, bad things. When it comes to entrepreneurship, you really have to be strong-minded. Like, you have to be willing to, like, if stuff is going down in your business or even in your personal life while it's an entrepreneurship, you have to be willing to be a strong-minded, boss, okay? Like, you cannot let stuff get to you mentally. Because if it gets to you mentally, whether it's something happening within the business or something personal that could affect your business decision making, then yeah, I mean, you have to be strong-minded. Because if you can't handle the pressure, then entrepreneurship is straight up not for you, okay? And this is something that Amazon FBA has taught me, especially with dealing with products that get taken down. I've had capital tied up for like a month because I couldn't move inventory like so much that, it makes your mind stronger, but at the same time, it makes you a better entrepreneur because you know how to deal with certain things. You're able to control your emotions and whatnot and make decisive decisions based on your actual, mood and whatnot. So yeah, it's important to be strong-minded because, guys, man, you cannot have one bad day where it just completely ruins you and your business. Otherwise, it's going to be very tough for you down the road. Like I said, stuff happens every day, week, month, whatever it may be. Stuff will and can happen, and you have to be strong-minded. Because if you can't be strong-minded, man, it's going to be very tough. So please do keep that in mind. It's extremely important. So number 7 on this list, which I think is extremely important too, right? I mean, they're all important, so you know what I'm saying though. But you have to be willing to accept the fact that you can only control what you can, and you can't control what you can't. And so what I mean by this is that, us as humans, we try our best to avoid negative situations, bad situations. Maybe you did everything right within the day. You try to handle your business. You try to manage your employees, your inventory properly. But at the end of the day, something could happen that you had no control of. And it's important that you understand, how to control yourself when it comes to these situations, okay? Because, yeah, something bad may happen. Something, could affect your business. But at the end of the day, guys, what matters is how you control yourself, okay? Best you can do is adapt to whatever's happening in your situation and really just go from there, okay? Because if it's something that's out of your hands, then it's out of your hands, okay? Which sucks because us as entrepreneurs, we tend to actually be wanting to control every aspect of our business and life. But the truth is that you really can't control every aspect of both. So all that matters is that you control what you can, and that whatever you can't, just let it be, or try your best to push through it as well, okay? Because yeah, if you try to focus so much on trying to control what you can't, you're really gonna burn yourself out, and that's just something you don't want to do as an entrepreneur, okay? So I mean, and this just goes for anything in life, right? Not even for business, but still, it's crazy how much Amazon FBA can teach you about these type of things when you're actually going through the motion, building up the business, and just going through your, day-to-day life. So yeah, extremely important. Control what you can, okay? That's all that matters. And number 8, I mean, this basically kind of ties into everything that I've been mentioning. But at the end of the day, you need to understand how to control your emotions, okay? Because your emotions do play a factor into how you run your business, your personal life, and everything else in between, because they are intertwined when you think about it, okay? And so if you're a person that gets very emotionally triggered by anything, like in a bad situation, then you're not going to have a very fun time doing this business, like a lot. Like, stuff does happen, and I keep mentioning that, guys. Stuff will happen, and you need to be able to control your emotions and get them in check. Because if you can't get your emotions in check and make better decisions, then it's going to be a rough ride for you as an entrepreneur. And not even just with Amazon FBA, but basically with any business model out there. So control your emotions, keep them in check, and make sure that you're holding yourself down so that you can stay focused and focus on the bigger picture at the end of the day. Because, man, it's easy to get yourself lost emotionally doing business, but you always need to remember that you're in control. You set what happens on the outcomes, and so you need to focus on that instead of letting it get to you, okay? That's extremely important. So please get your emotions in check, and don't let any one bad decision in your business kind of ruin you. So just tackle it on and move forward. It's a lesson. Number 9, and I think this one is extremely important, especially for those of you who are like pretty extroverted, I guess you could say. But being an entrepreneur, a boss, whatever you want to call it, it gets pretty lonely. Versus for you're at a 9 to 5, You can actually talk with other, co-workers and whatnot, talk about this and that, a game, football game, whatever it may be that you guys want to talk about. With entrepreneurship, you're your own boss, right? That means you run your own business at your own place or whatever. And especially with Amazon FBA, a lot of you beginning probably won't have any employees, if at all. And you have to understand that as a boss, the employees are really just your employees, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you could be cool with them, maybe hang out with them once in a while. But it's a major difference in being an actual boss and making friends out there, okay? And so it can get very lonely, especially when you're running your own business by yourself and you can't even talk to your employees about some of the situations that happen within your business because it's not their business, right? And on this one, I just really highly suggest, networking with a lot of other similar people in your industry, like, with Amazon FBA, network with other sellers that are more or less around the same range as you, and just build a small group, like get yourself in that small, network and really network. Because it will get lonely, especially if you're doing this full time. I mean, there's nobody out there to give you any tips. It's not like your neighbor next door is out there doing Amazon FBA, or the neighbor across, or a family member. You're on your own, and that's just how entrepreneurship is, right? Though, because only a very few can do entrepreneurship. If everybody else was doing it, then it probably wouldn't be so profitable. But that's the price we pay, though. So, but yeah, definitely get out there, network if that's what you need. And just really put yourself out there, because, as a boss entrepreneur, you will be lonely. There will be nobody to really guide you in anything. You just have to, kind of manage it, right? At least in my experience. And the last tip on here, which is extremely important, and I'm honestly glad I saved this for last, but accountability matters when you're doing your own business as an entrepreneur. And especially as Amazon sellers, guys, it matters so much, okay? Like, at the end of the day, as being entrepreneurs, you got to remember, you're in control of everything that happens within your own business, okay? This is not a 9-to-5 where you can piss off on your boss. If something didn't go the way it should have, there's no one to blame at all. Like, all the blame is on you. If you made a bad purchase decision, that's on you. If you bought the wrong product, that's on you. If you hired the wrong VA or something and they screwed you over, that's still on you. If something didn't happen well with the customer on Amazon with FBM, that's still on you. Like, at the end of the day, guys, entrepreneurship is all about accountability. Like, you have to be willing to be accountable for everything that happens within your own business, okay? How many hours you source, who's making sure that you actually put in the work, make sure that you're listing stuff, repricing stuff, whatever it may be that goes on in your Amazon FBA business, you're accountable for every single thing that happens within the business. Even if you have employees, you're still held accountable for everything that they do, because at the end of the day, guys, you chose to hire them. And so the faster you realize that you need to be accountable for everything, the more better you will be as an entrepreneur. Because playing the blame game as an entrepreneur, it's not going to cut it off. I'm sorry, but you're in control of everything at this point when you decide to take this boat. Like, straight up, man. There's no boss or anyone that you can blame anymore for any decision that happens within that company. This is your own company, your own decisions, and you need to be accountable for them, okay? So if you make bad ones, accept them, work through them, and move on. If you make good ones, then obviously good job. You'll reap those awards and, pass on through. But yeah, guys, entrepreneurship, though, you got to be ready to be accountable for everything, because, man, it is just a bumpy ride all along. Like, I can't tell you how many times there's just been stuff going on that's happened in the past before that, man, this has been crazy. But at the end of the day, we as bosses, we handle our own business, we get it done, we're accountable for everything, and we just push through. That's all that it comes down to. So as long as you can do that, you can hold yourself accountable and keep your business and yourself in check, you'll do perfectly well. But if you can't do that and you're too busy blaming other people for your own mistakes, then yeah, entrepreneurship honestly is not going to be for you. And yeah, it's better that you know that now than later, because it will not go great. But guys, that is the main tips that I learned throughout my 5 years journey of being an Amazon seller that has taught me about entrepreneurship. This video has been going on for 20 minutes at least, so it's a long one. But if you stuck to the end, I'm pretty sure you learned a thing or two. And I hope you stuck to the end, because, man, a lot of these things are important, guys. Like, don't sleep on any of these tips. they will help you in some form or fashion, or at least mentally prepare you for stuff that you may or may have not experienced just yet. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching to the end. Hopefully this was super valuable. Hopefully you got some advice out of it. And as always, I will see you in the next one. All right, guys. So peace. I am out and on.